So, welcome to the lecture 39. So, as we discussed earlier lecture 38 was the organic certification process. So, in this lecture we will discuss the operational structure of this organic certification, that means what are the agencies are involved in certification of organic products and what are the roles of different agencies those who are involved in this certification process. So, you see if you see this flow chart, the operational structure of the national program for organic production. So, in India NPOP, the national program for organic production. So, they have formulated certain the combination structures for the certification of the organic products. As you see, the government of India. So, in that are the body of the Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Agriculture. So, they to take the personnels, the technical persons from the Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Agriculture, they to formulate a national steering committee for national program for organic production NPOP, that is SCNPOP, that is the national steering committee for national program for organic productions. So, the members appointed for this the steering committee are from Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Agriculture. So, also APEDA, so Agricultural and Processed Food Export Development Authority. So, these members they do form a national steering committee for NPOP. So, what is the job of this the steering committee? So, they are the part of the governments, the persons are from the Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Agriculture and APEDA. So, Agricultural and Processed Food Export Development Authority. So, what they do? They form national standard for organic production. So, this different methods, the standard criteria, they are this formulated by this the steering committee. So, the steering committee they do formulate the national standard and also the national accreditation policy and program. So, NAPP, the national accreditation policy and program and national standards for organic productions. So, this is formulated by the national steering committee and also they do make a technical committee. So, this technical committee for review of the national standards for organic productions and national accreditation policy and program. So, this is a regular review procedure for inspections and the certification agency. So, they do the technical committee also appointed by this the steering committee. So, their job is for the review of the NSOP, national standards for organic productions and the review of the national accreditation policy program. Of course, they also define the procedure for inspections and the certification agency. So, these are the inspections and the certification agency, they also define the procedures and this review process is made the regularly. So, that they update this the standards and update the accreditation policy program. And the APEDA, the apex body, you can say the secretary body that coordinates between the steering committee and also steering committee they formulate a national accreditation body. So, these are the members of this national accreditation body, they do come from the Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Agriculture and from APEDA as well. So, this they coordinate the APEDA is as a secretariat that coordinate between the steering committee and the national accreditation body as well as the certification program is mostly is mainly coordinated by APEDA. So, what does the national accreditation body that then what it does? It helps in accreditation of the inspections and certification agency. The job of the national accreditation body for the accreditation of the certifications and inspection agency and that is done by forming one evaluation committee. The evaluation committee also members of this evaluation committee they are decided by the national accreditation body, and they also come from Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Agriculture and APEDA. So, the evaluation committee that does evaluate the inspections and the certification agency based on the operational procedures, and based on the feedback or the recommendations of this evaluation committee, then the national accreditation body does the inspections and the certification agency are accredited by this national accreditation body based on the report of this evaluation committee. And this the inspections and certification agency, they do provide certifications through APEDA. Because APEDA does receive the applications from these farmers or the operators or the processors, the organic processors. So, they receive applications through this certification agency, and APEDA does formulate, because coordinate between the steering committee between the national accreditation bodies and national accreditation body. So, that form the evaluation committee, and based on the feedback from this evaluation committee, this agency, the inspections and the certification agency, they are accredited, and finally, based on their recommendations, the certificate is issued to the farmers, operators and the processors. Because the farmers, or the operator of the processor, they do apply to the national certification agency, and this the inspections and the certification agency, they do send forward the application to the APEDA, and APEDA then does coordinate between the NPOP, national accreditation boards and the evaluation committee, and finally, they decide the certification is issued to the farmers or the operators or the process. This is how the structure that happens. Structure exists for the certifications of the organic products or the processed or the field corn products or the organic the processed products, food processing of the organic origin. So, here because the agency are the members from the Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Agriculture and the APEDA. They form the national steering committee for the NPOP, and steering committee formulate a technical committee. The technical committee does evaluate regularly the standards for organic productions or the accreditation policy and the programs. So, the regular evaluations, and there is refinement takes place also. And also this APEDA as a secretariat that coordinate with the steering committee and also national accreditation body that does accredit the inspections and the certification agency based on the recommendation of the independent or the third party, the evaluation committee. The members of the evaluation committee, they also come from the Ministry of Agriculture or Ministry of Commerce and the APEDA. And after the accreditation of the inspections and the certification agency, so they are the then certified, they have the capable of the providing or granting certificate, organic certificate to the farmers or the operators and processors through APEDA, because APEDA receives the application, shortlist applications, and finally the certification issued the end users, maybe the farmers, the operators and the processors. So, this is the whole diagram, whole structures of the certification process. So, now we will discuss what we discussed. Now, we will discuss the detailed work plans of different committee or the different sectors organizations in the certification process. So, coming to the national steering committee. So, you see the national steering committee, let us say operational structure of national program for organic production, national steering committee. So, the program will be developed and implemented by Government of India through its Ministry of Commerce and Industry as the apex body, and the ministry will constitute a national steering committee for national program for organic productions, whose members will be drawn from Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of Agriculture, Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, Coffee Board and spices boards and tea board and other government and private organizations associated with the organic movement. So, the steering committee that is for the national program of for organic productions will formulate the national accreditation policy and the programs and draft national standards for organic products, which will include the standards for organic productions and process as well as the regulations for use of the national organic certification mark. So, so the steering committee, so they do formulate the standards, national standards for the organic products, or the national accreditation policy is formulated by the steering committee, and also the regulations for use of the national organic certifications. So, this is the job of the steering committee. The national accreditation policy and program. So, this is what the NAPP will be administered by the national accreditation body, which will define the overall policy objectives for the accreditation program and operations. The NAP and NSOP are subject to periodic internal review, which will be conducted by the technical committee, which will advise the national steering committee about the need and contents of such amendments in the national program for organic production. So, as we discussed, the steering committee, the technical committee that is constituted by this the steering committee. The technical committee will advise the steering committee for any modifications in the national standards or the accreditation policy, the NAPP policy program. So, because they will convey this the advise the steering committee about this need and the contents of such amendments in the national program for organic productions. And the national accreditation body. So, the national steering committee it also functions as the national accreditation body. The members of the NAP or the national accreditation body shall comprise the representative from this Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, APEDA, Coffee Board, Spices Board and Tea Board. So, they are the members of the NAP. Then the work is drawing up procedures for evaluation and accreditations of certification programs, formulating the procedures for evaluations of the agencies implementing the programs, then accreditations of inspections and certification agencies. So, the NAP what they do by the formulating the evaluation committee, they make a evaluation committee through this feedback of this evaluation committee. So, they do the accreditations of the inspections and certification agencies that are involved in the organic certification process. And what does the evaluation committee? The evaluation committee, the eligible inspections and certification agencies implementing certification programs will be evaluated by an evaluation committee. So, as we discussed this one, the structure, the flow diagram, this inspections and agency or this and the certification agency. So, they are evaluated by this the evaluation committee. So, they are appointed by the national accreditation boards. So, this evaluation committee will be appointed by this the national accreditation boards. So, the members of the evaluation committee also come from APEDA, from Coffee Board, Spice Board, Tea Board, Ministry of Agriculture and the Extension Inspection Agency, Inspection Ministry of Agriculture and Export Inspection Council of India, then Export Inspection Agency. So, these are the members of this evaluation committee. So, APEDA as a Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, APEDA on behalf of the NAB will receive and the screen applications from the certification agencies, will coordinate and arrange evaluation visits to ascertain the credential of certification programs of the applicant. So, that means the APEDA is a coordinating as a secretariat. So, that receives the applications from this certification agency. That means, the producers or the processors has to apply for organic certification to to a certification agency, and the certification agency will forward the application to APEDA for issue for the certifying the producers or the operators. Then APEDA does coordinate these programs by through this NAP, National Accreditation Boards Evaluation Committee, and that will coordinate the arrange of the evaluations visits to ascertain that the credential of the certification programs of the applicants. Then evaluation committee will submit its recommendation to NAP for considering accreditation, because the certification agency there also the accreditations done regularly. So, the evaluation committee that submits recommendations to the NAP based on certain regulations and based on the existing operational procedures for these inspections and the certification agency, because depends upon following the proper organic standards and the inspections, field visits. Based on these procedures, the evaluation committee will submit recommendation to the NAP for considering accreditations of this inspections agency. So, accredited inspections and certification agency. So, based on the recommendation of the evaluation committee, eligible inspections and certification agencies will be accredited by the national accreditation body. The agency should be well versed with the operating procedures, the national standards for organic products and the international standards. So, those are the inspections and the certification agency, they should have the well experienced, well versed with the operating procedures of the organic certification programs and the standards and the accreditation policy and the programs. The inspectors, what does the inspector? The appointed by the accredited inspections and certification agency will carry out inspections of the operations through the record maintained by the operator as per the specified formats and also by periodic site inspections. So, inspector they do visit the fields or the sites to also checking the records and the regular visits, because once you apply for this certification program. So, there is a visits to the fields and to check these operations for this the national standards for the organic products. Based on compliance with the standards and certification programs, accredited inspections and certification agency will certify the organic status of products and operations, specifying their conditions and recommendation. So, this inspections and this certifications by the accredited agency, they do the receipt of applications, then providing because they do receive applications from the farmers or the processors, those who are applying for this organic certifications, they apply to the certification agency. So, the providing the standards and operational documents, because once you apply for the certifications, then you get the standards of the, as you discussed in the earlier classes, and as we have discussed for the operations or the management, the production practices for the organic food productions at different stages, how we can maintain the organic products from the starting from the land preparations up to harvest of the crops, especially for the single ingredient products. So, if you are go for the processings of the processed products, then starting from the production as well as the processing methods should be follow the organic standards. Then the agreements, then the demand for these the organic certifications, then demand for the fee as per applicables, then document audit, the physical field inspection. So, there is a by the inspectors, they do visit the fields, and those who are applying for the organic certifications field sites, and risk assessments is done, the compliance verifications as per the standards and the record keeping. So, if they are following as per the standards, reporting by the inspectors, review, and those reports will be reviewed by the reviewers, then certification decision. So, what is say here, usually the inspections and the certification agency, they do assigns the inspectors for the field visit, sightseeing and site visits, auditing and making the assessment of the record keeping, the procedures followed, because when somebody, if some agency or the farmers or the groups, they are applying for the organic certifications, they should have the record keepings. So, this is verified, the report based on this the organic standards and the operational documents as per the report of this inspector, that is verified by the reviewers, then final decision is taken for the certifications by the APEDA. The inspection methods, what they do for the visit of facilities and the fields, that is done, review of records and the accounts, then calculation of input output norms, the production estimates, assessment of the production systems, especially from the land preparation up to harvest or production systems, and the interview with the responsible persons. So, as per the either the producers or the farmers or the any groups. So, the inspector has a interview with the person, so who is involving in the production process, and the risk assessments in that if there is any failure or the loss, risk assessments, and the part conversion and the parallel production, because sometimes we do recommend to for the conversion of the field as a step by step basis, not the whole field can be converted to organic at a time. So, there may be organic products as well as the conventional products, but there should be proper buffer zones, at least we have mentioned at least 8 meters of buffer zones should be maintained between the organic field and the conventional field, and also during milling operations, because organic products should be milled separately, they should not be intermingled with the conventional products, and during transportation also this should have a separate transportation for the organic and the non-organic or the conventional products. So, this inspection goes on, then inspection of for use of genetically engineering products, then use of off-farm inputs. Usually in case of organic farming, we do advise to go for the on farm, because the crop waste or the biological waste of the farms itself, but sometimes the off farm inputs are usually restricted, but it should have the permission from the certification agency priors if you are using any off farm inputs. Then analysis for residue testing. So, if required, so because though it is a very difficult and the challenging task, whether we can by testing the quality we can say it is organic or the conventional, but think that the pesticide residue can be detected if there is a beyond the threshold levels, then that test would be taken to brand is organic. Usually the most of the organic crops, organic products are the free from pesticide residues. So, that testing should be, if required, that can be taken up for this certification process. Then we have the grower group certification. Sometimes these individual certifications are the grower group based on the group of the people, group of the farmers that are involved in a organic farming. So, that can be a group certification can be issued. So, based on the internal quality system. So, this is applicable to producer group, farmers cooperatives, contract productions and small scale processing units. So, the grower groups are the group of the farmers or the cooperatives can be issued the certifications. The producer in the group must apply must have similar production systems, and the farm should be in geographical proximity. That means, in a particular area, close proximity, in a particular area, small distance, and they follow the same norms and procedures for the organic production process. So, that these groups of the cooperative they can apply for this organic certifications. So, this internal quality systems, as you discussed, what means a group of producers create the internal team for some tasks. So, say internal teams for this because a common task they are growing for applying as a group, they are applying for the organic production systems. So, the external certification agency delegates some inspection tasks to this group as a named as a internal quality systems. The IQS that undertakes the inspections on behalf of the certifications board. The certification agency evaluates the working of the internal quality systems and do random field inspections for verifications. Certification is granted to group as a whole as a unit. So, if there is a group of farmers or the cooperative, they are doing a particular type, a specific type of farming. So, in that case the group certifications can be issued to a particular growers, and this is the minimum requirement for the internal quality systems. The development of internal control systems, identifications of producer groups, creation of awareness about the group certifications among the members of this internal control system quality systems, identification of qualified personnel for maintaining the internal control system. So, within that the grower groups or the community or the cooperatives. So, we have to assign some of the persons, so that I can train them regarding the internal the quality control systems for this organic certifications. So, necessary training in productions and the internal quality system development, and preparation of the internal quality system manual containing policies and procedures for the organic productions and the processings. Implementation of the policies and procedures, then review and improvement of the internal quality system documents for maintaining a harmonized internal quality system. So, so in this process the operational structure as we discussed. So, a group of the farmers or the individual farmers or the producers, the operators, they can apply for the organic certification process. They can apply to the certifications, the inspections agency or the certification agency, and they can forward the applications to the APEDA, and the application is scrutinized or the verified by the APEDA, and APEDA does coordinate with the national accreditation boards and also evaluation committee and the inspections and the certification agencies and they review the applications and formulate the evaluation committees, and based on the feedback of the evaluation committees, and the certificate is issued, and as per the norms or the policy or the procedures are followed for the organic certification processes, and certification is issued to the farmers or the operators or the group of farmers depending upon their requirement. So, this is how the certification process or the structure of certification in India. So, by having the, so as you discussed certifications which is required to have a branded as organic products, so that you can the producers can get the price where the price of the organic product, and that helps in the converting or the conversion of the more and more the conventional farm to the organic farm. With this I conclude this lecture. Thank you very much.